What is up, good people? Jungle Link here, hope you're doing well. XRP State of the Union. I haven't done one of these since the early stages of the prior bull run, when I stated that the SEC lawsuit was going to cause mass delistings and it was going to severely impact XRP's price for the duration of the bull run if there wasn't some type of settlement. I think now is a great time to do the same as we kind of work through this current cycle, examining both the good things and bad things about our setup as we enter the next bull run. Before we do, though, I want to go over this story. CFTC commissioner warns against infringing on SEC's authority in KuCoin case, and I got to give credit where credit's due. John Deaton, he called this some years ago. You look at that filing against Ripple and you're like, you know what? No, the SEC, they only care about how Ripple is selling XRP, similar to how when they sold the Orange Groves. This isn't about the token. This isn't about labeling XRP as security. And John said, no, you're wrong. The SEC specifically cares about the secondary market and labeling the token as a security. And over the years, man, has that proven to be correct? Really, John Deaton, a visionary here. We see Caroline Pham, commissioner of the CFTC, has suggested that aggressive crypto enforcement actions could put the regulator at odds with the SEC. And this is the deal. The CFTC and the SEC, they shouldn't be at odds at all. If the SEC is just arguing that Ripple or some other entity is simply taking a crypto token, a pure commodity, and wrapping it in some sort of investment offering to the public, well, those two things can coexist at the same time. They do not overlap. You could take any commodity, whether it be gold or orange groves or crypto tokens, and again, much like Howie, you could, wrap it in some sort of securities offering and be at odds with the SEC. What Caroline Pham is telling us is the same thing that John did so many years ago, that the SEC really wants to label these crypto tokens themselves a security. Look at the ruling they got. They got that, when Ripple sold to institutions and they wrapped those transactions in contractual agreements and things like this, those were securities offerings. And there's over $700 million in violations. Are they happy with that ruling? Heck no, they're not. They're livid because it really was always about the crypto token itself trading on the secondary market. That's what they want authority over. They want to prove that crypto in and of itself is a security. Commissioner Pham saying the following: owning shares is not the same thing as trading derivatives. There is a fight going on between these regulators, and the fight is, what is the crypto token itself? Is it a pure commodity? Of course it is. Or is it a security, as the SEC would like it? We have to be careful after that Ripple ruling. That's just a singular ruling. That case is going to go to appeals. Furthermore, we have Coinbase and Kraken and Binance, and the SEC could go after another crypto project. We're hearing they're gearing up to go after Ethereum, and we just don't know how courts will rule. There's risk there. And while Ripple struck first, we have to know that this battle continues. All right, let's discuss XRP a little bit. As we continue through this expansion cycle we're in right now, I see the following article: hodling XRP, a good choice for this market cycle. So let's look at both the good and the bad. Nothing is ever perfect, not in crypto, not in life. And there's a million different attributes we could look at. I just kind of want to examine what I think is the most important. To me, number one, without a doubt, the game changers, XRP is going to be allowed to trade on the U.S. market. This was not allowed in 2017, that epic bull run, this massive expansion, not just for XRP, but crypto at large. XRP was not allowed to trade on Coinbase or any U.S. exchanges. You had to play the whole little game of transferring over to Binance or Bittrex or one of these other exchanges and exchanging your Litecoin or your Bitcoin or your Ethereum for XRP. You could not go and simply buy XRP direct. 2021, we had the massive delistings from the U.S. market. And yet again, we were in an environment where most of our major competitors traded freely in the U.S. market, and we were blockaded from a very significant and large market. Yes, the U.S. isn't the whole world. You can trade on other exchanges and other countries, and yay for that. But if you take away the U.S., you're at a huge disadvantage. Yes, your competitors, they have easy access on Binance, the main site there, and KuCoin, and all of these different exchanges, but they also have liquidity on your big US exchanges. They're just in a better position. Plain as day. This will be the first time where you get some crypto newbie that's able just to YOLO into XRP, and I think it's going to make a huge difference once this space really heats up and all that money comes flooding in. The second really good thing is I think we're going through a great, pivot here where XRP is going through some significant upgrades that will really position XRP to be used. Not simply sitting back and reading about Ripple using XRP, but we are going to be using XRP. The upgrades, they are doing right now tells me they're focused on the right things. AMMs are going to allow on-chain liquidity to build efficiently, and we're building on a lot of various, tools to make XRP interoperable with other blockchains, being able to feed all sorts of real-world data into the XRP ledger, being able to monitor other chains for locking events, for bridging capabilities. These are the areas you really want to be focused on as we pivot to being really a DeFi chain that leverages payment and settlement capabilities. That's an extra layer of utility here that I think will translate well to real-world adoption. Lastly, I think these upgrades will really result in Ripple being able to more efficiently leverage XRP's capabilities for cross-border payments. When we look at really the choke points here, it's the centralized parts of on-demand liquidity, having to rely on market makers, taking a big cut out of the payment there, centralized exchanges and their price differences between markets. That's really what's causing the issue here. On-demand liquidity is expensive because you are relying on those traditional and centralized entities throughout your payment system. If we're going to do this, we got to go decentralized. We got to go on-chain. You're only as good as your weakest point. And what's great is these two things are symbiotic. Retail, using the XRP ledger for a practical purpose, building liquidity, symbiotically with Ripple doing the same for their institutional payments. More liquidity begets more liquidity. And I think the last bonus here is it's just going to be a little easier. Last time we had the complication of, is the SEC going to settle or not? And I know a lot of people said it wouldn't happen, but if you look at the SEC's past before Ripple, they always settled out. They took their fines and penalties, there was some corrective action, and then, they exited from the case. Further, only an idiot would take this all the way to the end. They were getting smoked in court. Ripple was dominating them. You had to know you were going to get a bad result that was going to harm everything else you wanted to do in crypto. But Gary Gensler was just that type of idiot that thought he could just get his way if he pushed forward, and he lost on every important issue. We don't have to worry about all that this time around. The law of the land will dictate XRP can trade freely on the open market. Big difference here, and I think it will make things much easier as we proceed through this growth phase. All right, let's pivot to the bad. Number one, there's still ongoing litigation, which means there's long-term risk. We're going to probably go to an appeals. You don't know how that court's going to look at this issue. They may eventually reverse the ruling and maybe the SEC wins. I don't think so. I think Judge Soros's ruling was lawful, correct, and well thought out, but you just never know. That's going to create risk. There are going to be some investors that just will not touch this asset while there's ongoing litigation with the SEC. Simple as that, no debate. It's risk, it's not great, and it's probably going to continue. Number two, XRP is playing catch up because of some failed bets. We went all in on micropayments. That micropayments are going to be the next thing. That was the big use case. We ignored DeFi, and now we got to quickly build up our capability. The XRP ledger was the first with a built-on DEX. Ripple was the first to, develop smart contract capabilities and all sorts of things. And they threw it to the wayside and said, micropayments is big. The rest of the world was wrong. Had they been right, it would have been massive, but they weren't. DeFi was the next big use case for cryptocurrencies. And now we got to play catch up and get going and get that capability on par for real world DeFi use cases. XRP is a novel chain. It could do a lot of good things, but you can see it's not so easy, is it? We saw with the launch of the AMMs. You can run into problems, big issues. This is a risky time of development. They gotta nail it. A third issue with the XRP ledger is as you go through a period of change, not everyone's gonna like it. There's gonna be a lot of turmoil. We're already seeing that. We are seeing, people that are running infrastructure, nodes, developers getting pissed off going to other chains. Like, this is gonna happen. We gotta work through this. It's not gonna be all sunshine and rainbows. You're gonna see a lot of turmoil here. Expect it. Understand what's going on. Not everyone else is going to like the vision of the future. There's still some people that think micropayments is the way to go right now. We shouldn't be messing with DeFi. And I would say the last risk is this. You can't just rubber stamp every idea and say this is going to be executed. We've seen in the past a lot of different things, whether it's, Codius, it's this great idea, we're going to someday launch it, like that ain't ever happening. You have all sorts of investments by Ripple that just blew up and amounted to nothing. Like, you can't assume 100% they're going to nail these things. You got to sit back, watch it develop. Can they get a working AMM not only launched, but get those pools rocking with more liquidity? Can they get those bridges going? Like, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen here, and it has to do well. But I think the one good thing is this. This isn't just something where Ripple can just throw money at it and say, well, go out there and either build it or don't. Who cares? We just get more XRP next month. If it doesn't work, we can invest in something else. Like, I think Ripple really needs this because it's clear on-demand liquidity. If it doesn't go on-chain, I don't think it's going to work. I know we've heard they pivoted to SMEs. I don't see how SMEs don't have the very same problems that other institutions would. High costs from market makers, differences in price. We need this big global pool of liquidity on-chain, low fees, I think, to make their business work long-term. But you have to be a little skeptical because they've had a lot of failures, a lot of busts, and it could happen again. Overall, I'm not worried. Look, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, top crypto assets, even if they're not on the cutting edge, they're going to perform here as we go into this massive growth cycle. We don't know exactly when the whole space will totally erupt, but it will. We're already, seeing huge growth out of Bitcoin and Ethereum and a lot of coins popping off the bottom. Doesn't mean we can't have pullbacks and scary situations, but we're going to see a big growth phase sooner than later where across the board things are going to do very well. XRP will be one of those. But I think it could do exceptionally well. And it reminds me a little bit of Cardano last run, to be honest. Because people are calling it a DeFi chain and talking about smart contracts. Like, what are you talking about? There's no smart contracts here. There's no DeFi. There's no ecosystems. Then we got smart contracts. And then we got a DEX. And then we got all sorts of, different projects launching. And pretty soon, a full ecosystem emerge. And you saw a lot of growth out of that chain last run. I think we could see something similar here with XRP, where by the end of this, growth phase, this bull run, it's a totally different ecosystem than what we see today. If you invest in the crypto that's already firing on all cylinders, you're not going to have that same growth, right? Because, the price is going to be reflective there. You got to be a little ahead of the curve and hope you are correct. And this is a do or die moment for this chain, for this ecosystem, as a real contender. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.